Hey friendo, Steve here. Welcome back to the channel. So as you can see right now, I've got a graphic for the Universal title match at the Royal Rumble. It's Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, AJ Styles, and yeah, LA Knight. And I got to thinking when I heard that this was going to be the title match. I don't know if it's going to be the main event. Usually one of the Rumble matches, usually the men's Rumble match, is what main events the show. But maybe with all the star power here, they'll give us Reigns, Orton, LA Knight, and AJ Styles, and whoever wins the Rumble, Cody, will come out and confront Roman Reigns. I personally think Punk's probably going to win the Rumble, but whatever, that's a different video we'll do. So I thought it'd be fun. Two, because I don't know if it's going to main event or not, but it got me thinking of premium live event main events for the year, and if I could predict them all. That's right, I've got a best guess scenario for all the premium live events that I want to call pay-per-views, all the premium live events for the year. A lot of them have been announced. Some of them haven't, and I'm just sort of making a guess here. Like SummerSlam hasn't technically been announced, but I'm assuming it's going to happen. But a bunch of the other ones have been announced, and I thought it'd be fun to go ahead and predict the main events for all of these premium live events. And hey, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this video as the channel trailer, as like the featured video on the channel, and I'm going to keep it up there for like at least a couple months so that as the year goes on, we can all find out what a complete idiot I am, because I'll probably get most of these wrong. But we'll go ahead and kick things off with Elimination Chamber. It's happening from Perth, Australia. My throat gave out trying to do an Australian accent. And in my opinion, I kind of feel like it's a foregone conclusion. Oh, that's a terrible thing to say. There you go. It's going to be The Rock versus Roman Reigns. Come on, Perth is laying down all this money. There's been reports that they very specifically are laying down a lot of money to get The Rock over there. It's going to be in advance of the UFL starting, and so Rock's going to be wanting to promote that. And I feel like Cody's going to be the thing at WrestleMania. We'll get to that in just a second here. But this is one of several premium live events that's going to be sort of bankrolled by local governments. And yeah, I kind of feel like this is the situation where Rock versus Roman Reigns. I mean, come on, man. If WrestleMania is going to be the place where Roman Reigns has that title taken off of him, then you want whoever takes that title off of him to have all the juice, right? All that juice. And that's going to be Cody. And so why not part of that juice is Roman's going to beat The Rock. And so Cody's going to beat the guy who beat The Rock. That's my personal opinion. All right, let's move on. After that, we've got Mania Night 1. As much as I'd like to think it's going to be in the women's division, and I'm sorry, but like I'm trying to keep things realistic here. This is not hey, this would be cool if it was. So there's only actually one women's match. It's going to main event a premium live event, according to my prediction here. This is WWE. They just don't do it that often. Of course, night one, CM Punk is going to get what he wants, the consolation main event at WrestleMania, a.k.a. the night one main event. We all know it's got a main event night two, but night one is going to be Seth Rollins versus CM Punk. I kind of feel like CM Punk is a lock to win the Rumble. I haven't checked the betting odds on that, but I kind of feel like that's going to happen. He's going to win the Rumble. He's going to challenge Seth Rollins for that World Heavyweight Championship and lose, which comes into play a little bit later on in the year. Let's move on to night two. And of course, we've got Roman Reigns versus Cody. Cody's going to finish the story. Come on. He's got to finish that story. It's just sitting there. The typewriter's out. He's got to clack, 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 and then get it done. He's going to win the WWE Championship, which is, I think, what they're calling it now. He's going to win the WWE Championship from Roman Reigns. All right. The easy part is done. Now let's move ahead to after WrestleMania. So up next, if you guys recall, usually, or last year anyways, last year they did the WWE draft. Here's a graphic for the draft from a couple years ago. God, I miss Bray Wyatt. He was so awesome. Look at Mercedes Moné's in there. For some reason, they've got Drew in front of Roman Reigns, which is weird. Anyways, this is from years ago. So they got the draft. So now we can mix things up a little bit. We can mix things up just a little bit, right? So next pay-per-view after WrestleMania, of course, is going to be Backlash, because you got the Mania and then you got the Backlash to Mania. And the main event for Backlash, not because it's in Paris, France, but it's in Paris, France, is Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair. I feel like maybe, because they've teased this before, Bianca via the draft, is going to be moved over to Raw, and that's where she's going to finally challenge Rhea Ripley for the World Heavyweight Championship. And look, there's nobody else right now. I think Rhea's probably going to take on Becky Lynch at, what's it called, the WrestleMania. She's going to beat Becky Lynch, but Bianca's right up there with her in terms of the two major building blocks, the two foundations, the two like main eventers for the women's division. It's Bianca and Rhea. That's going 10 years into the future, right? And so you establish this sort of forever rivalry between these two, where Bianca, after this dominant reign from Rhea Ripley, which at that point will be over a year, Bianca takes that title off of Rhea Ripley, and then maybe they trade it back and forth a couple times over the next couple of years. So I feel like that's going to be the main event because Rhea Ripley losing that title is a big, big deal. So that premium live event is going to get Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair. That's the main event there. Let's move on now to Night of Champions. It's our first Saudi Arabia premium live event of the year, and they love their big main events. Drew McIntyre, who has moved over to SmackDown via the draft, is going to be challenging Cody Rhodes at Night of Champions. Roman Reigns is nowhere to be found, and that might drive the Saudi Arabian government mad, but maybe, Cody Rhodes will be the bright, shiny toy, and he'll be there at Saudi Arabia, because I do think that Roman Reigns is going to take a long time off between WrestleMania and SummerSlam. So we've got this Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre. Once again, though, Drew McIntyre comes up short. He's super bad guy Drew McIntyre now, and he's pissed off at Cody Rhodes. He's the man. He beat the guy who beat The Rock. Of course he's going to win at Night of Champions. So he's holding on to that belt. What's Drew McIntyre's next step? Well, the next premium live event is then in July, which is Money in the Bank. And the main event there. And here's my idea for Damian Priest, because this guy can't seem to cash in for nothing. He sucks at cashing in. So he gets to critical point, right? He's like, okay, listen, I'm going to cash this in, and he's going to announce it ahead of time for the main event of Money in the Bank, the premium live event where his contract will expire. So he says, I'm going to cash it in there. I'm just going to do this main event because I can't seem to cash in. So he's going to challenge Seth Rollins, who still has a World Heavyweight Championship. He's going to challenge Seth Rollins at Money in the Bank. What happens earlier in the show? Drew McIntyre wins Money in the Bank. So Damian Priest beats Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship, and then Drew McIntyre cashes in, winning the World Heavyweight Championship at the end of Money in the Bank. And I kind of feel like that sort of the turn for Damian Priest of, listen, I've been trying to do this the dishonorable way. I'm going to do it the honorable way. And then he wins and gets screwed by the guy who has stopped doing it the honorable way, Drew McIntyre. I think that level of sort of success morally and failure practically is going to be the kind of thing that allows people to more relate to Damian Priest. And they'll be like, oh my God, we want this guy now to be champion. And then he can start his own road towards World Heavyweight Champion. But you gotta go through a lot of failure first. That's what we've learned in Triple H. You got to go through a lot of failure first. Look at Cody Rhodes. So Drew McIntyre walks out of Money in the Bank with that World Heavyweight Championship, and Damian Priest is crushed, and Drew McIntyre's holding that thing. And here's the thing: everybody was all rooting for Damian Priest. They were like, "Oh man, this is actually going to work. Like he's actually doing the honorable thing." And then Drew comes in and he's holding that title high. He wins, and everybody's booing him, and he's like, why are you booing me? Like, I'm finally champion again. Didn't you like this? And then they're going to be booing him, and he's going to be driven even further into bad guy madness. Moving on to Bash in Berlin. No, Bash in Berlin is after SummerSlam. So SummerSlam is probably going to happen. When does SummerSlam happen now? Early August. I think that's when it was last year, because now they got Bash in Berlin at the end of the year. This is where Roman Reigns comes back. This is the big rematch between Cody and Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns loses this time, but unlike at WrestleMania where there were shenanigans where he was trying to cheat, he doesn't do that now. He's a man alone. Cody beats him fair and square, and that's sort of where you see that there's been a change in Roman Reigns. He's sort of at peace. Now he's what they call a good guy. And he shakes Cody Rhodes' hand afterwards, something he didn't do at WrestleMania. And he puts over Cody Rhodes as, this is the guy. He beat me clean, fair and square. It's all good. Roman Reigns can now begin his path to, hey, I'm a good guy now. Because he's not going to be around that often. I think that all these matches that I've got, he's going to wrestle like 5 times in 2024. I don't think it's going to be very many times. So we got SummerSlam out of the way. Next up, Bash at Berlin. Of course, Gunther is going to main event Bash at Berlin. I know he's Austrian, but like, I don't know. There's some German connection there, I think. I don't know how it works. Aren't the two countries next to each other? Something like that. Oh, boy. I'm an American. What do you guys want from me? So, Bash at Berlin. Now, who's the biggest piece of shit they can put in there with Gunther? Logan Paul. That's right. For the Intercontinental Championship, you got Logan Paul, a guy who everybody just absolutely loves to hate. He'll be in there with Gunther. Logan Paul will be, like, probably borderline offensive when it comes to running down like Germans or something like that. And of course, Gunther. But here's the thing. It'll be a really good match because Logan Paul knows how to put on really good matches. If he has an opponent in there who knows how to put on really good matches. This match will absolutely hump. It's going to be so good. But yeah, that's going to be your main event for Bash at Berlin. Moving on to Fastlane. Where's this one? So again, this one has not been announced. Don't know if it's going to happen or not. It happened this past year in whatever, October, I guess. And so we've got CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship. Maybe at this point, CM Punk wins the World Heavyweight Championship. It kind of depends on a couple things. How his run in WWE is faring. Is his body holding up? Do people want to see it? Is he still hot? So maybe Drew McIntyre's reign will be a little bit on the short side, short but effective, and CM Punk gets that title off him. Or not, I don't know. I'm not booking the finishes to all these matches. I'm just giving you guys what I think the actual main events are going to be. So next main event would be Crown Jewel, the second Saudi show for 2024. And let's see, what's going to main event there? Oh, Roman Reigns versus Randy Orton. So Randy Orton doesn't get his solo match against Roman Reigns at the Rumble. But now that Roman Reigns is kind of a good guy, Randy Orton by that time will be kind of a bad guy. So the roles will be a little bit reversed, and Randy Orton will be like, hey, you know, your stripes don't change. You're still a piece of crap, and I'm going to RKO you and punch you in the head and everything. And here's the thing about Crown Jewel and Saudi Arabia shows. They always they're like bigger fans seeming. Like they wanted to bring Ultimate Warrior back. They want to bring Yokozuna back after he had died. And so I feel like a more traditional dudes who have been around for a long time, dudes who have super recognizable names, go one-on-one at Crown Jewel. It's not going to be for a title. Cody will be on the show. CM Punk or whoever's going to be World Heavyweight Championship is going to be on the show. But they're not going to main event because it's going to be Roman Reigns versus Randy Orton. They'll make it like, oh, the last time ever or some shit like that because probably one of these guys is going to retire before they wrestle each other again. And that leads us to Survivor Series. So this match will then set up, in a way, the main event for Survivor Series, which of course these days is War Games. And here's what I got for War Games. You got Team Cody versus Team Roman. This time, Team Cody's going to be Cody. Orton, it's like fake Team Legacy, right? It's like Team not actually Legacy. Because you got Cody, you got Orton, no DiBiase. You do, however, have LA Knight, who at one point was actually aligned with Ted DiBiase Sr., so there's kind of a legacy connection there. And then you got Kevin Owens and you got Sami Zayn. And Kevin Owens came back to, Sami Zayn came to SmackDown via the draft, reuniting him and Kevin Owens because it's kind of clear that they're not really doing a lot with Kevin Owens. He might win that U.S. title, but I don't know about that. Against Team Not Quite Shield. You remember when the Shield debuted, it was to help out CM Punk. Well, now Team Not Quite Shield is Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and you can't have Dean Ambrose, but you can't have the reunited Usos who make good after Roman Reigns becomes a good guy. They all make up. They're back together as either a tag team or just singles guys who happen to be brothers as well. And they're going to all join Team Not Quite Shield versus Team Not Quite Legacy, which is basically Raw versus SmackDown. So there you go. And you're like, wait a second, Steve, that's November. What about December? They ain't going to do a December pay-per-view because they didn't do one this past year. There is no pay-per-view in December, so my job is done here. I don't have to do shit else. So there you go. There's all the main events for all the premium live events for 2024. Let me know what you guys think the main events for all the premium live events in 2024 are going to be. Drop them in the comments below. Hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys in the future.